Are you legally required to collect sales taxes for your online business? Make sure you stay to the end of today's video, as I'm going to be sharing with you the 4 possible scenarios you might fall into if you are selling digital products online with regards to sales taxes, when you need to collect them, when you don't, and everything in between. Hi, my name is Jim Hart. I'm the founding attorney here at Hawthorn Law, where we help online entrepreneurs and small business owners to get paid, get protected, and get themselves legally legit. Today, I want to share with you the 4 different scenarios that can come up with regards to sales taxes and your online business. And I want to be completely honest with you here. I get asked about sales taxes probably once or twice a week, and up to now I have punted on the issue. I haven't talked about it. I've been hesitant to talk about it. And the reason for that is because different states have different rules, and I want to make sure I'm giving you the best possible advice. So today I came up with a kind of a way that I can hopefully explain this to you that's going to make a lot of sense and help give you some guidance if you are selling digital products online. But before we get to that, let's take a minute and just talk a little bit about the history of sales taxes, specifically as they apply to the sale of digital products online. Now, first off, you might be wondering, what is a digital product? Well, you actually probably know that if you're watching this video, but for those of you that are from the Stone Ages and you're not quite sure what a digital product is, basically we're talking about audio files, video files. They could be Word documents, PDF documents, photographs, information products and courses. They could be printables. You see a lot of printables on Etsy, and teachers pay teachers and different things like that. So any type of product that you can purchase online that is kind of intangible. In other words, you can't hold it, you can't feel it, you can't touch it, but it's something you can download to your computer or you can stream to your computer. Those are all going to be considered digital products for purposes of today's video. Now, here's the big problem. These digital products, as I've just kind of explained them, they don't fit nicely into a neat little box when it comes to state laws on how sales taxes should be applied. And the main reason for that is that sales tax laws were written and drafted and approved into law, years ago, before the internet was around, before we knew what digital products were or that it even could exist. Nobody could conceive that you'd be able to go online and enter your credit card information and download a document of some sort or a photograph or anything like that. Nobody knew that this was something that they could do. So as a result, a lot of states that have, well, most states have sales tax rules or laws. They apply to what's considered tangible property. And that means it's something you can actually hold and something that you can, it's like a water bottle or a pillow or the couch or whatever, the camera that I'm talking to now. It's something that you can touch and feel and smell and see and all those things. Digital products, they just don't work that way. And so a lot of the states, they either fall into one of several categories. They don't have any laws that deal with digital products at all, and so you're left to kind of flounder and wonder, what are you supposed to do in those states? Or they do have a law that deals with digital products, but it kind of maybe a little bit vague, or maybe it's outdated, or maybe it was passed 20 years ago before things really got going with digital products, or maybe they have a more updated law. And so it really depends on the state where you live in terms of how they are going to be handling this issue. And so if you live in one of those states that doesn't really have a law that deals with digital products or that defines what a digital product is, oftentimes you're left looking for revenue rulings or old case law or something like that to try and figure out whether or not, your digital products are going to be taxed. You need to collect and remit sales tax on those products. And for those of you that are in one of those states, I do feel for you. That is a tough situation to be in. But that, my friends, is why you're watching this video, because I'm going to help you through that little situation. And even if you can find the answer to that question, there's still the question of, well, the laws change all the time. And so what might have been true, a day ago or a week ago or a month ago or a year ago might change in the next few days, weeks, or months or years. And so you have to be up to date on what's going on with the law. So that leads us to the very first question that you need to be thinking about if you're selling digital products online, and that is, does your state tax the sale of digital products? It's a pretty simple question, right? And there are 5 states that don't tax anything at all, that don't have a sales tax. And if you live in one of those states and you're selling your products there, hey, you know, more power to you. You are in a good position, and those are frequently referred to as the nomad states, and those are New Hampshire, Oregon, Montana, Alaska, and Delaware. Those are the 5 states that don't collect any sales taxes at all. So if you live and work and sell digital products from one of those states, hey, good for you. So if the video is making sense so far, just go ahead down below and just let me know that you're getting what I'm saying so far. Or better yet, if you live in a state and you know how they tax digital products, go ahead and comment below and say, yeah, I live in XYZ state and they do tax digital products. Or I live in this state and they don't tax digital products. And that's going to be helpful to everyone that's watching this video. Although, I might add, do not try and play lawyer, and do not use YouTube as your legal expertise. Nothing we say here or talk about, or nothing that's in the comments is or should be construed as legal advice, but you already knew that, I'm pretty confident. Now, regardless of where you live, there's 2 primary tests that are going to dictate whether or not you need to remit and pay sales taxes. And this is assuming that the state we're talking about is a state where sales taxes would be collected on digital products. Now, and there's really 2 things to be considered here. Well, let me go back. This is kind of hard to explain. Maybe this is why I haven't explained this all so far, because it is kind of tricky. There are 2 primary tests to determine if you must collect and remit sales taxes on the sale of goods or services. There is the physical nexus test, and there is the economic nexus test. And so generally the physical nexus occurs where you have if that's where the state where your business is located, if you've got employees in that state, if you've got warehouses in that state, if you've got inventory in that state, although inventory doesn't really apply when we're selling the digital products, so forget I said that. But those are the things that are going to be considered. The most common one by far is going to be, what is your address? And if your address is in a state where it collects taxes on the sale of digital products, then that's something that you need to know. And then the second test is the economic nexus test, and that occurs when you exceed a certain amount of either transactions or sales in terms of gross revenue in that state. And then in that case, you may need to remit and or collect and remit sales taxes in that state. And that's because in June of 2018, the US Supreme Court handed down a ruling in South Dakota versus Wayfair, where it basically said that states can mandate that businesses that do not have a physical presence in a state, if they have more than 200 transactions or $100,000 in state sales to that state, those businesses would have to collect and remit sales taxes in that state. So with all that in mind, here are the 4 scenarios that you need to be aware of and consider with regards to digital products and the collection and remission of sales taxes. So the first situation, you live in a state that doesn't tax digital products, woohoo, party time. And you're selling to people in a state that doesn't tax digital products, woohoo, party time. No collection, no remission, you don't need to worry about sales taxes, you can just sell your products, you're good to go. Second situation, you live in a state that does not tax the sale of digital products, woohoo, party time. You're selling to people in a state that does tax the sale of digital services. Brownie face. Well, it's going to depend on the volume of sales. According to that Supreme Court ruling, it's 200 transactions or $100,000 in gross sales, but states are free to go higher than that if they want to. So you'll have to check with that state and see what their requirements are. But generally speaking, you need to have a lot of sales in that state to make it worth your while to collect sales taxes from that state. Third situation is you live in a state that does tax the sale of digital products, but you're selling, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, frowning face. And you're selling to people in a state that does not tax the sale of digital products. Woohoo, party time! All right, no collection, no filing. You don't need to worry about it in that situation. And then the final scenario is you live in a state that does tax digital products, frowny face, and you're selling to people in that same state, frowny face, you do have to collect sales taxes and remit them to that state in that situation. Basically, the biggest situation where you're going to need to collect and remit sales taxes is going to be if you live in one of those states that does tax the sale of digital products and you're selling to people in that same state. Then you're going to need to collect and remit sales taxes in that state and make sure you are registered appropriately in that state. Now again, go ahead, like, subscribe, hit the bell thing if you like what I'm talking about. What I'm gonna do, I think, for this video is I am going to create a list of all the states that do charge sales taxes on the sale of digital products, and a list of the states that do not charge sales taxes on the sale of digital products, and I'm going to include a link to that down in the description below, so make sure you get that. In the meantime, here's another video that talks about more things you can do to legally protect your online business. Thank you so much for watching, folks, and we'll see you in the next video.